You know what nobody talks about in Star Citizen? The 3-minute walk. That's how long it takes to get from your bed to the pilot seat in a reclaimer. 3 minutes of your precious gaming time gone just walking through corridors that serve no purpose except to make you feel small. While everyone's obsessing over capital ships and bragging about their carracks, the smartest pilots have figured out something the community refuses to admit. Medium hangar ships aren't a stepping stone to bigger things. They're the destination. Picture this. You've got exactly 90 minutes before real life kicks in again. Work tomorrow, responsibilities waiting, the usual adult stuff. You boot up Star Citizen, spawn your whole C, and wait for the elevator. Then wait some more, then walk. Then realize you forgot something back at the other end of the ship. Sound familiar? We've all been there. That moment when you realize you're spending more time managing your ship than actually playing the game. There's a better way though, and it's sitting right there in those medium hangars, waiting for someone smart enough to notice. Medium hangar ships in Star Citizen are like that reliable friend who always shows up when you need them. Constellation series, Corsair, Asgard, Spirit lineup, they're not trying to compensate for anything, they just work. Think of them as the Swiss Army knives of spaceflight. Versatile enough to handle whatever the verse throws at you, compact enough that you won't need a GPS to find your way around inside. Most players get this backwards. They think bigger ships mean better gameplay. Wrong. Bigger ships mean more time spent not playing. The real progression in Star Citizen isn't about ship size, it's about gameplay efficiency per credit spent, per hour invested, per moment of your limited free time. Medium ships have cracked this code, and with engineering gameplay coming eventually, this advantage is about to become absolutely critical. The hidden time tax of large ships is something most content creators completely ignore. Every second you spend navigating endless corridors is a second stolen from actual gameplay. You've probably experienced this, that sinking feeling when you realize you've spent 20 minutes of your session just moving around inside your own ship. Take the Caterpillar. Beautiful design, impressive cargo capacity, but getting from cockpit to cargo bay feels like a pilgrimage. Now compare that to something like the Asgard. Same essential capability for most missions, but you can traverse the entire ship in under 30 seconds. That's not just convenience, that's respect for your time. The math is brutal when you break it down. If you're spending 5 minutes per session just walking around inside your ship, that's over 30 hours per year of pure dead time. 30 hours you could have spent actually playing Star Citizen instead of playing Walking Simulator inside your own hangar. Medium ships eliminate this tax entirely. They're large enough to feel substantial, capable enough to handle serious missions, but designed by people who understand that your time matters. You know what's funny? The people who get this concept are usually the ones who hit that subscribe button. Not because they're told to, but because they recognize when someone actually understands the game they're playing. If you're nodding along thinking, finally someone who gets it, well, you know what to do. The button's right there, and honestly, the algorithm could use the help figuring out who actually wants to hear this stuff. Think about your last few Star Citizen sessions. How much time did you actually spend doing the things you logged in to do? Flying, fighting, exploring, trading? Now think about how much time you spent waiting for elevators, walking through empty corridors, or just trying to remember which deck has the component you need to access. The community loves to romanticize these massive ships, but nobody wants to admit the reality of living with them day to day. Flexibility isn't just nice to have in Star Citizen, it's survival. The mission system doesn't care about your ship choice, but your ship choice absolutely determines which missions you can realistically take. You need something that can punch up when opportunities arise and scale down when efficiency matters. Picture this scenario. You're running a simple delivery mission when a lucrative bounty contract pops up in the same system. In a Hull C, you're committed. No way you're pivoting to combat with that flying warehouse. In a reclaimer, forget about it. But in something like a Corsair or Constellation, you knock out the delivery, switch to combat mode, collect that bounty, and still have time to check out that interesting signal you spotted on the way. Remember that moment when you first realized you were playing Star Citizen wrong? Maybe it was sitting in a reclaimer, pulling up a guide on your second monitor just to figure out how to get to the salvage bay efficiently. Or timing different routes through your carrack, like you're planning a military operation instead of just trying to grab some gear. That breaking point hits everyone differently. For some, it's missing a time-sensitive mission because they couldn't find the right elevator panel. For others, it's that creeping realization that they're spending more time managing their ship than actually enjoying the game. The moment when Star Citizen stops feeling like an adventure and starts feeling like work. But then you hop into something smaller, something more focused, and suddenly the game clicks again. The magic returns. You remember why you fell in love with this universe in the first place. It wasn't about having the biggest ship. It was about the freedom to explore, to adapt, to say yes to whatever the verse offered. Engineering gameplay is coming, and when it does, everything we've discussed becomes exponentially more important. component wear, system failures, active maintenance requirements. This isn't just adding complexity, it's fundamentally changing what it means to operate a ship solo. Consider the math. A constellation has roughly 15 major components you'll need to monitor and maintain. Manageable, even engaging. A reclaimer? We're looking at potentially hundreds of individual systems, each with their own maintenance schedules, failure modes, and repair requirements. As a solo operator, you're responsible for all of it. Medium ship pilots will have a tactical advantage. You'll actually be able to learn your systems. Instead of being overwhelmed by complexity, you'll develop genuine expertise. You'll know exactly which components tend to fail first under stress, which systems you can safely overclock, and how to optimize your power distribution for different mission types. That knowledge becomes a competitive advantage that no amount of raw ship size can match. When combat damage happens, and it will happen, you'll be able to reach the affected systems and repair them before they cascade into total failure. Try doing emergency repairs on a capital ship while under fire. You'll spend more time running through corridors than actually fixing anything. The Star Citizen community has this fascinating split personality when it comes to ship choice. Spectrum forums are full of detailed discussions about capital ship operations, but Reddit tells a different story. Post after post of people melting their large ships, admitting they never actually fly them. The disconnect is real. There's this unspoken pressure to own the biggest, most impressive ships, like they're status symbols instead of tools. But the players who've been around long enough, who've actually lived with these ships day to day, they quietly migrate back to medium hulls. They've learned what the marketing doesn't tell you. Impressive screenshots don't translate to enjoyable gameplay. The smart money has always been on ships that disappear into the background and let you focus on the actual game. Engineering gameplay is just going to make this truth impossible to ignore. Audit your fleet with brutal honesty. When did you last fly that Carrack? Not spawn it to show friends, not take screenshots. Actually fly it for an entire session. If the answer is weeks ago or I can't remember, you know what to do. Focus your resources on one or two medium ships that cover your preferred gameplay loops. A Constellation Andromeda handles combat and cargo beautifully. A Corsair gives you exploration capability with serious teeth. An Asgard covers specialized missions while maintaining that crucial flexibility. These aren't compromise choices. They're optimal choices for solo operators who understand the game's actual mechanics. When engineering goes live, you'll be positioned perfectly. Instead of drowning in system complexity, you'll be mastering it. Instead of spending your sessions on maintenance busy work, you'll be using engineering as a tactical advantage. Most importantly, you'll be playing Star Citizen instead of being played by it. You've seen the math, you understand the trade-offs, and you know engineering is coming whether we're ready or not. The question isn't whether medium ships are viable for solo play. It's whether you're smart enough to recognize the advantage before everyone else catches on. What's your current daily driver, and how much of your session time does it actually steal from you? Share your ship choice reality check in the comments. The honest answers always tell the most interesting stories. The verse is changing, and the players who adapt first will have the biggest advantage. Medium ships aren't a stepping stone to something better. They are something better, disguised as a compromise. Engineering gameplay is about to prove this in ways that'll surprise everyone who's been chasing size over substance. Until then, fly smart, not big. And remember that the best ship is always the one that gets out of your way and lets you play the game.